of our ambassadors, and as well our principal, Mr. Girardi, and then we have an amazing guest speaker, Mr. Flindt Andersen, who is going to kind of tell his story. So at this time, I would like to introduce Chris Salone and Kendall Cush to give you a brief overview of the Eagles of Honor program.
The Eagles of Honor pledge is the right thing to do.
It's created to show that most students do make good choices.
The media nowadays just shows us how it's fun to party and do all that kind of stuff.
But that's not true. We can have fun hanging out with friends, watching a movie, jerking.
That's true. I have fun just chilling at school doing different things.
Yes. Well, we have a great guest speaker who can tell us more about that. But for now, Isabel Barcinella, who is also an Eagle of Honor ambassador, is going to explain Link Crew's involvement in this.
This year, Link Crew was asked to help promote the Eagles of Honor here at Clovis West. The Eagles of Honor program is about pride, honor, and being accountable for your own actions. Simply making decisions that affect you and everyone around you. The Eagles of Honor goal is to teach the principles and traditions of Clovis West to our parents, teachers, staff, and classmates. To do this, you will be asked to sign a pledge, promising to make the right decision and to give your best efforts every day. We are now ready to take the Eagles of Honor to your younger brothers and sisters at their schools. We want them to know that we care about them and that we're here to help them make better decisions that will benefit them in the future. This is about pride, honor, and respect. This is about you, your friends, and your family. Be a Golden Eagle. Sign the pledge. Thank you.
Thank you. As Chris, Isabel, and Kendall just mentioned, signing the Eagles of Honor pledge is basically a promise to yourself that you're going to work hard in trying to make right decisions, how to make right choices. And sometimes that is a very, very difficult thing. I see it every day, how difficult that is as students sometimes, as hard as it work, as good as it try, it's very difficult because of peer pressure and just other things that goes on out there. The best way you can always equip yourself in making sure that you make the right decisions and whatever comes your way in life, you should be aware. Okay, if you've got to be aware of consequences for decisions that you may run into. Okay, today we brought a young man here to come talk to us about some of the consequences for using prescription drugs. Okay, this year Eagles of Honor wanted to talk about that piece there because no one seems to talk about in the media out there. They talk about drug use and marijuana, cocaine, some of these major drugs that people sometimes deal with. Shh. But there's a quiet killer out there called prescription drugs that we want to talk to you about today, just to make you aware of what that is. So next time you're invited to a farm party or a candy party, okay, you're aware of what the consequences could be. Our guest speaker, okay, is a courageous young man that's willing to share his story. He has a very powerful testimonial. Mr. Flindt Andersen was born and raised in Fresno. He is a 1973 graduate of McLean High School and attended California State University, Fresno. Flindt has been married to his wife, Kathy, for 30 years. He has two sons, 28 and 23 years old. 18 years ago, he started Andersen and Associates, a legal support service business that supports attorneys and their law firms. After a 20-year addiction to Vicodin, Flindt completed rehabilitation at the Betty Ford Center in 2001. In 2007, he started a testimonial speaking career called Don't Hide the Scars that addresses his personal experience with prescription drug abuse and how his life had been saved. In 2008, he founded PAIN, P-A-I-N, Prescription Abusers in Need. a program that targets teenagers and their parents that provide referral service for treatments, facilities, licensed therapists, and 12-step meeting for teenagers only. Flindt is also an original member of former Mayor Alan Autry's program Drug Free Fresno with Deputy Mayor Jeff Eben and Fresno Police Chief Jerry Dyer. Flindt and Payne are currently working on opening an affordable sober living residence for teens that have recently graduated from a treatment facility, and the plan is in place to open an affordable treatment facility in Fresno that not only caters to adults but has an inpatient facility for teenagers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm applause and welcome to Mr. Flindt Andersen.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Now they told me I got to stand in the middle for this thing, so. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me come and speak today. This is something that is extremely important to me. I have turned this into my life's work, and I would like to thank Mr. Drawdy for allowing us to come in here and talk to you today. Mr. Drawdy is a good man. He's somebody that cares about you guys tremendously and wants to help in any way that he can. So to start this thing off, I want everybody to imagine just one thing for just a brief second. I would like everyone here to imagine that everyone in this room is addicted to OxyContin. Okay? Now, what I'd like you to do is everybody look over in this direction, and I want you to just kind of follow me down here for a second. Now, from about this point over, so you've got maybe 7 people wide, that's the amount of you that are going to recover from the addiction. The recovery rate for teenagers is 3%. 3%. If you decide to use OxyContin and Vicodin today, you will become addicted. It's very simple. It's not hard to figure out. Once you start taking it, you will become addicted in about 10 days. And I'm going to tell you how. I had a 20-year addiction. At the end of my addiction, I was taking 40 to 60 double-strength Vicodin a day. That's not a lie. That's the truth. The day I walked into the Betty Ford Center, we flew out of here at 6:15 in the morning. I got there at 6:30 at night. I had taken 46. It's the last time I took them. So, the choices that you make today are going to stay with you for the rest of your life. It's real simple. I've had 23 surgeries on this body. I now have peripheral artery disease in my legs. Believe it or not, it's very difficult for me to walk from here to that door simply because of the choices that I made. Because along with taking the narcotic, I drank, I smoked, I've done every drug under the sun. And it started in high school. And what I would do at one point, I went to McLean High School. I played basketball. I played baseball. I played football. I was in the choir. I was in the madrigals. I was the only junior ever student body vice president of McLean High School. And at the same time, putting LSD in my eye because it got to the bloodstream faster. So that's how it started for me in high school. And it just went on and on and on. So when I injured myself playing baseball, and they gave me that Tylenol with codeine for the first time, I absolutely fell in love with it. The high was beyond anything I had ever felt. Took away all my problems. took away my parents for a while, took away everything. And eventually, it literally took away everything. And I mean that. I'm fortunate I've been married to the same lady for 30 years. I shouldn't be. But I have the grace that's been given to me by friends and family and have forgiven me. But what's important is I've also forgiven myself for some of the things I did. You see, I wasn't physically abusive. I wasn't sexually abusive. I was just pretty much verbally abusive and bad. 2 sons that didn't want anything to do with me. Absolutely nothing for the longest time. So when you start to make choices now, it's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. You see, I've also had open heart surgery because of my drug abuse. I would literally at times, when you do 40 to 60 pills a day, you have to get them from somewhere. So I would work anywhere between 8 and 12 doctors at the same time. I was probably going to at least 9 different pharmacies in town. I would drive to Tijuana and cross the border and bring back the pills and do it in just drive down, get them, and drive back. I would do whatever it took to get the drug. If you invited me to your house for a Christmas party, I would excuse myself. I would go into your bathroom and I'd rifle through your medicine cabinet. I didn't care who you were. I didn't care who you were. I needed the pills. You see, because once you get addicted, the body has to have it. It has to have it. The mind will tell you that you want to stop, and you truly do want to stop. But the body's not going to let you. Now, Mr. Drotty knows that when I do these things, I tell the truth about prescription drug abuse and the addiction process. And there were many a night where I would sit there, curled up in a ball like an infant, throwing up. Can't go to the bathroom. Maybe I could. Maybe I couldn't. Didn't know. Couldn't get up. Couldn't walk 5 feet. Sweating so bad. Vomiting. I mean, the addiction is horrendous. And again, I'm going to reiterate this over and over again. If you start taking these and become addicted, you will go through the addiction and the withdrawal process. I've been through 4 different recovery centers before I went to Betty Ford. And I walked out of all of them because I thought I had this big S on my chest and I could do it. Well, when I decided to, well, I didn't decide. I actually had a friend, my best friend of 35 years, who decided that I needed to get help. So he picked me up, he flew me down to the Betty Ford Center, walked me through the front doors, and said, if you ever wind up in the hospital due to your drug abuse, I will never, ever see you again. And that was my best friend. And what a friend to have. And thank God we're still friends to this day. You know, we all live in Fresno, Clovis area. We know a lot of people, even into the thousands possibly. But it's extremely critical that you find that 1 or 2 good friends that you can depend on for anything. Because the majority of people are just acquaintances. People you graduated with, people you met in business, whatever the case may be. You need that one friend that you're not going to be afraid to be embarrassed in front of. That one friend that knows everything about you. Because if you don't, you're going to wind up in trouble. You know, when I went down to the Betty Ford Center, I want you to imagine this. They have what's called Family Week. And that's where the family comes down, and as the patient, you're put into a room, and now I am facing my younger son at the time, who was 13. My older son didn't even make the trip because he didn't want anything to do with me. So as I'm facing my younger son, now I can't say a word. My son looks at me and says, "Yeah, Dad, I knew you were stealing my allowance to buy your drugs." It's pretty sobering when your child has to do that. Thank you. Heaven. You know, it's, there was another time where my son was over at Santa Cruz. He messed up his ankle, you know, just jacking around. Goes into the hospital. Doctor starts to write him a prescription. And my son says, "No, thanks, Doc. I don't want it." And the doctor said, "Well, you're going to really hurt. Why not?" And he said, "Because I don't want to wind up like my dad." You see, addiction goes a lot deeper than just a good time on Friday night and Saturday night. You're now going to have to deal with things that you never thought you were going to have to deal with. You're going to when I got out of Betty Ford, when my wife picked me up at the airport, she never said a word. Not, "Hi, how are you? How was it? Are you okay? Are you clean? Are you sober? Are you alive?" Could have cared less. For the next 5 years, I was under suspicion every single day. Every single day. And rightfully so. They had every right to protect themselves from my addiction. You see, because along the way, Mr. Drotty said in the beginning that I have a legal support services business. I lost 95% of my clients. And when I got out of Betty Ford, I had to go and make amends to every single one of them, whether they came back as clients or not, because that was part of my recovery. And there were some that didn't come back, and it was okay. So again, the consequences from the choices that you make are going to follow you into your adult lives. They're going to follow you into college. There's kids right now that planned on going to college that are never going to get there because the addiction is so strong. I live in Northwest Fresno. We actually, in our neighborhood, we lost a kid there about 8 weeks ago. His buddies left him in the car when he was dead. Every one of them are addicted to OxyContin. You will die if you take it. Michael Jackson, he's not coming back. No matter how much you listen to his records, no matter how many times you watch him on a video, he's dead, and he's not coming back. Heath Ledger, the Joker, joke's on him. He's not coming back. And I want you to understand this, folks. Dead is for real. You see, I was 5 minutes from it. I was 150 pounds. I virtually had no liver left when I went into Betty Ford. I couldn't fit my kids' clothes. See all these nice white teeth? They're fake. They're all implants. Because I forego my diet, the drugs took over. I literally had teeth falling out of my mouth. The only difference between me and the junkie on the street was I dressed better and I lived in a better house. But you want to know something? I lost the house. You don't think I'm married to an angel? I think so. So if you think that your choices aren't going to affect you as you get to be adults, think again. Let's take it a step further. Let's talk about your families. I know one family in town here, they have spent $325,000 $100,000 on treatment facilities for their son. He's in his 8th one. It can happen to you. Happen to you. I've been to 4. I thought I had the big S on my chest. I walked out. I didn't need it. Boy, was I wrong. Oh, by the way, the other thing is when you're taking 40 to 60 pills a day, the DEA tends to get involved with that, especially when you're forging prescriptions. I wasn't forging one doctor's name. I was forging 5. I had all their signatures down till one day I prescribed myself too many. Well, the DEA caught wind. And I'll tell you, there's nothing more pleasant than sitting in a 5x8 room with 4 DEA agents. You think you're tough? Try spending it in jail. And if you think you're tough enough to handle Fresno County Jail, where do you have to go to Chino? Prison. That's the real thing. And let me tell you something, Fresno County is nothing to sneeze at. Believe me, I'm not that tough. I don't think anybody is. But it will happen to you. I can guarantee it. I see it every day. I talk to parents every single day that their kids are either in jail or going to be there because of the choices they made, and it all started with taking OxyContin. 3 in 5 high school seniors today, and I'm not blaming anybody here, but 3 in 5 high school seniors across the country today use and abuse OxyContin. There were 2.1 million teenagers addicted to OxyContin in 2007. This year they're projecting 7 million teenagers addicted to OxyContin and Vicodin. And that's just the reported cases. That's not the cases where the kids are sitting at home, you know, puking on themselves because they can't get up. See, because when you're going through that withdrawal stage, the withdrawals are so tough that as much as I wanted to get up and get to some doctor's office, get to some emergency room, get somewhere where I could get the drug, the withdrawals were so violent, so debilitating, that I couldn't get up to get there. So then what do? Well, I'll tell you what you do. 1999, my son graduated from another high school here in Fresno. I need to set this down. Hi there. 1999. It was the day before my son's graduation. The last thing I remember was walking through my den. Because when he came home with a buddy of his and opened up the garage door, I was on the garage floor, foaming at the mouth, having a grand mal seizure, with this bone sticking straight up out of my shoulder. You think your choices aren't going to affect you? I decided to stop using for a couple days. You see, the other side of this coin is, when you take this stuff, you just can't stop. You're not going to be able to do it on your own medically. You might be able to do it physically. There's been plenty of people that have cold turkeyed it. But medically, you're making a huge mistake. Because I was about 5 minutes from dying. So the next day at the graduation, how would you guys like to be at your graduation party? Your dad's there and doesn't remember anything about it. To this day, I don't remember one thing. It kills me. You might as well just take my heart and rip it out of my chest. And the reason why I can feel that kind of pain today is because I'm clean and sober. That's the only reason. I'm in all the pictures. You know, I'm like one of the guys they prop up in a corner with drool coming out of his mouth, sitting there with a sling, and my arm in a sling. And by the way, I still continued to use after that. So in 2000, when I went down in my backyard with a massive heart attack, and they decided to take me to the hospital, where that same afternoon the doctors advised me that they were going to do double bypass on me the next morning. Yeah, I'm cut from about here all the way down. There's nothing finer than laying in intensive care with a tube down your throat and then them pulling it out. What a great feeling. But man, did I have fun in high school. Did I have some fun? Look, I hope I'm scaring you because it's the truth. It's the facts. If you use, you're going to pay for it at some point. Let's talk about, just for a brief second here, what happens when you're 30 years old, you've already been through a couple rehab facilities, your addiction was so great that your parents got a divorce because of it. Because the pressure, what they had been through was so great that your parents had to split. How are you going to deal with that guilt? How are you going to deal with the fact that maybe, if you're using, and all of a sudden you're going through withdrawal so bad you don't even know what you're doing, you don't know what you're thinking, you push your little sister out of the way. Or you hit your brother or your mom. The choices you make today are going to affect you the rest of your life. I pray that it doesn't happen to you. We've got pamphlets over there. We've got teen meetings just for you guys, just for people that you know, that parents are not even invited. The only adult in the room is me and one other person. You can come, you can talk about it. We'll get you help, we'll get your friends help. Heck, we'll get your parents help if they're using. I don't want one person to have to go through what I went through. Why am I alive today? I've got an idea. I shouldn't be. In fact, I don't even know if I mentioned this earlier. Yeah, I have peripheral artery disease. That's clotting in the legs, folks. I don't know. I just hope that it doesn't happen to you guys. And I mean that. It's that important. It's that important. So the next time you're somewhere and somebody decides to want to have a little farm party, yeah, I know what those are. And they want to mix everything in a bowl and just go, yippee. Think about me laying in my backyard having a heart attack. Anyway, I applaud what Clovis West is doing. I truly do. Make the right decisions. Principal Drotty is a good man. He cares. These teachers want to help. They all care. Clovis West is now being the school that's actually coming out and saying, hey, Fresno Clovis, let's deal with this. Let's be the leaders in this country. Let's fight this problem. Let's try to get it under control, if not try to end it. Because one of the things I'm trying to do is try to get Purdue Pharmaceuticals not to make the drug. We don't need it. We got enough drugs to take care of terminally ill patients. We don't need one more. So, thanks for having me. Again, good luck to you all. I appreciate it very much.
Folks, it takes tremendous energy and courage to come stand here in front of strangers and talk about your life and your experience as Mr. Andersen just did. Okay, he is a courageous man, and we thank you for sharing your testimonial. And I've been touched with both testimonies this morning and this afternoon, and the one that just went right now. I'm sure the students are as well. So I want to thank you for coming out here and helping us at Clovis West. We mentioned earlier about the Eagles of Honor, the Eagle of Honor pledge. Shh. Okay, that is it. The Eagles of Honor Pledge, if you don't remember, this is the first time you're hearing it, it's a pledge for all of you. If you choose to sign up, just promising to yourself that you're going to try to make the right choices. Okay, we're going to have tables at lunchtime all week, at the volleyball game tomorrow night, at the football game, we'll have some tables out there for you to go there and sign up, okay? And you'll receive a card with your signatures that basically signifies to yourself that you decided to make right choices, okay? And if you've done that on November 5th, right at the pool deck, we're going to take another large picture as the one you see every day on the West Gym, hanging on the West Gym. So we'll hang a new one. You don't have to do that part, or you don't even have to sign it. But that is just a signature to yourself. It signifies the fact that I decided to make the right choice, and there's others around me here at Clovis West that have decided to do the same thing. Okay, we're trying to turn peer pressure into something positive instead of being negative. Okay? Shh. I know some people are joking around right now, but this is a serious matter. I've been here 8 years at this school. Trust me, I know of students that have graduated from this school that I've shook hands with at graduation that are in trouble right now. I know families are in trouble. That's why we decided to do this. Okay? These farm parties that you guys get text messages on, or these candy parties, that's real. Okay? That's real. And that addiction is real. The next time around, what we're going to try to do is bring ex-students to come talk to you, the ones that graduated from here. Okay? Question? Did you want to say something? Yeah, come on up.
I just want to say, I'm Chad, by the way, if you guys don't know me. It really isn't a joke. Like, you think it's a joke, you're like, oh, drugs aren't that big of a deal. Like, oh, I'm not going to get in trouble, nothing's going to happen to me. Like, okay, so on December 1st last year, I woke up and there's like 2 huge guys in front of my bed. I was like, what the heck? And they're like, get clothes on. And I was like, all right. So I got my clothes on. My mom's like sitting there crying. I'm like, what's she doing? She's like, this is to help you. And I'm like, what's help me? And then they're like, okay, we're going to take you in. I was like, okay. They took my arms, dragged me in their car, and drove me all the way to Utah. And I was like, Utah? Like, what's in Utah? It's like, I knew a lot of Mormon people were there, but that's about it. So I was like, okay. So I get there, they shave my head, take my clothes, and they're like, okay, you're going to be here for the next year. And I was like, holy crap, like, what have I gotten myself into? Like, before, I would consider myself, like, psycho. Like, a manic depressive, like, I didn't control it, so I was, like, depressed all the time, and I'd do a stupid thing, and it would give me a high, and I'd be like, yes, this is amazing, and then it would drop back down. And I'd be like, I was horrible to my friends, horrible. I'd be like, oh, do you really want me to kill myself right now? I'd, like, say things like that to them to see if, like, to test them, see if they really cared, even though I knew they really did. And so I think the part that really, like, irked my parents to send me is, like, I don't know, I thought it'd be funny if I OD'd on something I knew wouldn't actually kill me. So I went to the store, I went to Walgreens, stole a couple packets of Triple C, took 55. They're like, couldn't open my eyes, couldn't even talk. I was sitting in Carl's Jr. and my mom walks in because I'd called my friends. I was like, you need to pick me up, like, this is bad. And I started throwing up everywhere, make a scene at Carl's Jr., and everyone's looking at me like I'm an idiot, and I can't open my eyes. I can't do anything. That's basically when my parents said, you know what, like, I need to go. And then, so I got there, yeah, it was basically hell. Put it quite frank with you. I couldn't talk to my parents or see my parents for 3 months. I couldn't see them. It was the most horrible thing that I've ever gone through in my life. And kids now, like, I think back, I'm like, I didn't think my parents would ever do anything like for that to me. Like, I was like, oh, they love me too much. They would never send me away. They did. So there's it to you. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to get caught. And if you don't, then your life's going to be screwed over. And I'm going to laugh when you're the one sitting on this curb on the side of the road begging for money, because it's horrible. Like, like prescription drugs, like are the worst thing you can do. LSD, all those stupid things that you can do. They give you a natural high, and you're like, oh, I'm feeling good right now, but you're gonna crash and burn. It's gonna suck. Just like realize that they're not worth it at all. Nothing that can harm your body is like worth it. Nothing. Drinking, smoking pot, it's no big deal. I'm just smoking weed. It's not really a drug. It also leads to meth and coke and ecstasy, other fun things that you can do. So realize it's not a joke, and you're an idiot if you do it.
Wow, that takes a lot of courage. That took a lot of courage. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead and give him another round of applause. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, there's opportunity for you to sign up with that pledge. And one thing that resounded to me, okay, you may not be the person that's going to the farm parties and all that, but you know people around you that are. You know people around you that are, and you know people that could be headed in that direction. Okay, what kind of a friend are you? You got to ask yourself, what kind of a friend are you? What kind of a friend am I? Okay? So protect yourselves. Look out for one another. Okay, the pledge will be here all week and at the games. So with that said, you have been an awesome audience, great audience, and thank you for being such a great students at Clovis West. Thank you.
Hey guys, one last thing. The poster is here. We will have it along with the pledge drive. Chad, come out here again real quick. Hey guys, everyone give him a round of applause one more time. Thank you. Go ahead and head to your third period class. If you are in third period leadership, please report to the podium. Third period leadership, please report to the podium. Students, remember to report over to your third period class. Thank you.